This is a guy. His TikTok handle is Trevis Chirps or Trev's Chirps.
Trev's Chirps. Yeah.
So we just have to share some of this. This is
gold.
Absolutely fantastic.
Jeffrey! I hear you like to buy your Legos pre-built, you bum! So lazy. Hey, Nolan! I bet you don't know the difference between there, and there, you bum! Hey, Kevin! I bet you really want to be traded to the Savannah Bananas, you bum! Hey, Vilar! I hear you like your steak well done.
Oh my God.
That is so good.
You're so welcome. Follow me. Hey, Morales! You look like you dropped common loot, you bum! Hey, Kevin! I hear you like to drive your golf cart on the green, you bum! Hey, Sam! I bet you like to chew with your mouth open, you bum! Hey, Kevin! I hear you don't refill the Brito when you're done, you bum! Hey, Profar! I bet you put your feet on people's dashboards, you bum! Hey, Randall! I bet you drink red wine with fish, you bum!
Hey, that was good.
Thank you. Hey, Chuck! I bet you always notice when someone gets a haircut, you stud!
You make those things.
Yeah, we have like a 9-page Google Doc. Thank you.
The fact that they show up at the ball game with a document of these in order to like heckle these players.
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
Oh, you gotta know the game you're going to, where you're sitting, who's gonna be there, and you're lucky you're in the outfield. You got Jock Peterson, who is a stud. He could
100%.
Even Trav couldn't say a bad thing about the man.
100%. So good, so good. All right,
so good.
Here comes episode number 202. Hey, Nothingers! It's Barrett from the All About Nothing podcast for Everplay Sports and Social Club. If you're in the Columbia area, I want to let you know that Summer League registration is now open for kickball, volleyball, softball, soccer, and Monday pickleball. You heard that right. If you're looking to get active this summer, Everplay Sports and Social Club is exactly what you're looking for. Summer registration for Tuesday Super Rec Kickball at B Avenue, Wednesday and Thursday kickball, indoor volleyball on Mondays and Tuesdays, Thursday sand volleyball, Sunday and Monday softball, Tuesday and Wednesday bowling, Wednesday soccer, and Monday pickleball. New for this summer bowling league at Bolero and Casey, 10 full weeks of league bowling. So visit everplaysocial.com for details and registration. That's everplaysocial.com. Play, socialize, and have fun. Everplay Sports and Social Club. This episode of the All About Nothing podcast is brought to you by GOT Sound Studio. GOT Sound Studio offers a variety of experiences: music, voice and instrumental recording and production, video and still photography. GOT Sound Studio has all of your media needs met. Owned and operated by Dominique Stewart, the Neek the Geek, experienced artists as well as up-and-coming will find everything they need to create. Bring your media needs to one of the most talented producers and engineers in the business, Neek the Geek. You can find details by visiting gotsoundstudio.com or calling 803-243-2302. You can also find links in the Friends of the Pod section of our website. Visit theallaboutnothing.com.
The All About Nothing podcast
may have content and language
that isn't appropriate for some.
Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everybody, to the All About Nothing podcast. This is episode number 202. I am Barrett Gruber.
I'm Zach King.
And you have joined us in what is an epic travel through the news and entertainment and sports and whatever bullshit we decide to talk about today on this episode.
Comic-Cons.
Comic-Cons. We have to do a recap of previous episodes, things I've done, things Zach's done. It's almost as though you've checked in on a phone call between two friends that haven't talked in months.
Exactly.
Welcome, everybody, again, episode 202. Please subscribe to the show, share it as well. That's how we get new listeners.
That is how.
I feel like I'm suffering from some sort of a delay in my speech. I'll try it one more time. Please subscribe and share the show. That's how we get new listeners. And if you can, please consider supporting the show financially by visiting our website and clicking on the support link. If you can't do that, please drop us a review, hit the 5 stars, give us a thumbs up, or leave a comment. All of that helps drive up our show in the ratings on all of the podcast platforms. You can also follow us on all the social medias. There's links on our website, theallaboutnothing.com. Just to get started with some of the House business, I want to thank Bill Kimler, Democratic nominee for South Carolina House District 12. He's on Twitter and Instagram at Bill Kimmler and also at Kimmler4SC for his campaign stuff. You can also check out his campaign, Kimmler4SC.com. Thank you very much for Bill coming on the show last week. It's always entertaining. And we get plenty of content to share on the TikToks there while it still stands. Also, shout out to Preach Jacobs. Of course, you all know him, hip hop recording artist, column writer, and now podcast host. His podcast is called Worthy Cause Podcast with Preach Jacobs, and don't have a firm date on when that's going to start publishing. But he got some serious backers on this thing. Like, they sent him all the equipment. He had a brand new camera and lights and microphone, like little lapel microphones that he's going to interview people.
What are we doing wrong here? What's going on?
We got to start writing columns for newspapers. I think that's ultimately where we're missing out.
I think we just piss people off.
Even our closest friends. I want to also again shout out to Chef Hector Sanchez. He is at Chef Hector Sanchez on Instagram. He's got a pizza pop-up at Craft and Draft on Divine Street in Irmo. Not in Irmo. That is not correct. It's in Columbia. That's where Divine Street is.
I thought he was coming to the one by my house, and I was like, we'll be there. Yeah. Guaranteed.
Yeah. Pizza pop-up at Craft and Draft on Divine in Columbia on April 30th. More details to follow on that as far as times, but you can follow Chef Hector on Instagram for details and more on the pop-ups. Also, thanks to John Kosis, broadcast and media relation manager for the Columbia Fireflies, for our Nothing or Firefly update each week. We share it with everybody up until, I don't know, Saturday before the next one drops. And then if you're an exclusive, you can get it as an exclusive content if you're a member. So you can check out the membership page, theallaboutnothing.com. Also, it is nominating period. Nominating season is actually, by the time this episode airs, nominating season is done. Nominating season ended on Friday, April 26th. Voting period begins on May 22nd, according to the Free Times Post and Courier. So fingers crossed. I hope we made it into the actual voting situation and we can defend our title. I think so too. If necessary, I know 50 or 60 call centers in India that I can probably get on board with.
Got a friend in Bangladesh who's going to hook us up.
Also, planning has started for the 2024 Soda City Comic Con, so we have been asked to be there again. I think it's very exciting.
I can't wait.
I can't wait. We're going to get to set up a table, meet with anybody that'll come by. We'll record a lot of content, and the likelihood is that we may actually, Zach and I, may get to host some of the panels with some of the celebrities. So we're working on that.
We have the hard-hitting questions. We're not going to let them off easy.
Heck yeah. If it's a Walton Goggins up there, I'm going to ask him. How often did he go home and play as Boyd Crowder? Like, did he, during the season filming, I have to know, was he Boyd Crowder the whole time?
Does he ever dress up as Baby Billy and walk around the house?
Right.
You're going to look at a bunch of smiling dickheads with the news I got.
That is an iconic character.
It's so good.
So good.
And, of course, him as the ghoul in the new Fallout.
So I have not watched any of the Fallout yet, but I know that's shocking.
It's a crime.
But the reason is because I want to have the time and energy to focus on it as it's airing, because typically, I watch some shows and I get sleepy, and I'll sometimes fall asleep.
It's Fallout, pretty action packed, especially the first few episodes.
Yeah,
and not for the faint of heart. It is intense. And
it's not a kids show. This one.
It is visceral and gore. Okay.
I am going to watch it. I know several people have started watching it and they have enjoyed it. Some people have finished it. You know what? When we do a review, what we ought to do is we gotta get Michael and Leroy from Nerdy by Nature for that episode when we do a review of it, because I think they've probably already done a review. I watch them on YouTube. You can too. It's Nerdy by Nature.
Right.
Just search for them on YouTube. The YouTube channel is called We Tryin'. So you can check that out.
I'll be more than happy to do a review, because you're talking to a guy who has played every Fallout 1 through 4, including 76. I only one I haven't played was Tactics, whatever.
Yeah,
they're amazing, and I watched the show going like, you better not do me dirty.
Yeah,
and they did the lore exactly perfect. Every gun, every backdrop, every suit of armor, piece of clothing is ripped from the game.
Yeah.
So much so is that what makes Fallout unique is that it is in the canon of the games. It takes place. It's the last thing to take place so far in the story of the games. Everything that happened in the games has happened in the same universe that this is happening. So your New Vegas, Fallout 4, Fallout 3, all of that actually took place.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, I am going to start it. I've already got it. That'd be interesting, especially if they get anybody from Fallout, like any of the characters or actors or whatnot to show up for Comic-Con.
Fallout has been riddled with talent. Ron Perlman narrated Vegas and 3. Your dad in 3 is Liam Neeson.
Okay.
There's so many famous voices in Fallout.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say is that so far the only details on Comic-Con, Soda City Comic-Con, is that they have signed. They have a contract with Peter Cullen that has been signed. And if you don't know who Peter Cullen is, he is the voice of Optimus Prime from the Transformer movies, the cartoons. Just an unbelievable voice. So he is definitely going to be there.
Yeah. Autobots roll out. I could never do that one.
I couldn't either. I'm not even going to embarrass myself on Zach and try to do it.
Roll out.
You do it pretty well though. It's good. So Soda City Comic Con this year is going to be August 24th and 25th at the Columbia Metropolitan Convention Center. And if you can, it's definitely something to come and check out. Even if you're not a huge anime, comic book, whatever, sci-fi fan, it's really fun. People dress up.
It's so much fun.
Some of the characters are fantastic. We had one girl that was that showed up at our table that easily distracted Zach and I for 3 or 4 times for 10 minutes at a time.
She had to get a restraining order against Barrett.
Zach had a girl hit on him. Told him some pretty inappropriate jokes. It was fun.
From then on out, wore the wedding band.
Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, so check out details on the Soda City Comic Con. That will be at sodacitycomiccon.com, or you can check back with us. Just subscribe here to the show because we'll release those details as they come out as well.
Yeah, and Walton Goggins is just Barrett and I's dream guest.
Timothy Oliphant and Walton Goggins. If I could get Raylan and Boyd on the same stage, would be unbelievable.
It has to happen. If they're in the same room, it's happening.
We are willing this into existence. What is it? What is it? Shiana says that. What's the manifesting?
Manifest your destiny.
It.
Yeah,
we're manifesting that into existence. I also want to do a quick shout out, and when this episode drops, it'll be this coming weekend. Free Comic Book Day, Saturday, May the 4th, and specifically want to talk to you about the local comic store to the Midlands of South Carolina, Boomer Comics. Boomer Comics is veteran-owned and operated. They have hand-painted 3D figures and sculptures. There's a section of the store where all the sales benefit a local animal shelter located at 509 West Church Street, Batesburg, Leesville. You can hit Sheely's Barbecue afterwards. If you
never
go
a bad idea.
No, absolutely not. Do you like Sheely's Barbecue?
I do. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you like it for their barbecue or
yes?
I'll just because I'm not a huge Sheely's barbecue fan. I'm more of a Sheely's fried chicken and sides. I think that their sides are unbelievably good.
I'm not a big fan of hash and rice. Gabrielle is, my God. I'm not a white rice fan. It's not much you can put on it for me to be now I'm a fan. If I'm going to do rice, it's brown rice. Their barbecue is fantastic. Their hush puppy is fantastic.
Yeah.
Their chicken is fantastic, but I'm there for that mustard base or vinegar barbecue. There's
your Sheely's plug. Also, a plug for Boomer Comics over there in Batesburg, Leesville. So they're open Monday through Saturday. I'm sorry, they're open Wednesday through Saturday from 10 to 3 those days. So make sure to go check them out, especially this weekend for the free comic book day. So again,
well, too, and
Boomer Comics.
We're talking about comics right now, Comic-Con as well. The new trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine released, and it's fantastic. It is fantastic.
It is, and there were so many things in there that gave you insight into what we're going to see when we see the movie. Because If you did you see the giant Ant-Man?
Yeah, Scott Lang's skull's in the
Yeah.
helmet, and they open it up.
Yeah, but did you see who the characters were that were all along in front of it?
So they've guessed Toad, they've guessed Sabretooth covered up, or it could be Caliban covered up.
One of them. So there's a guy that's wearing striped shirts, a striped horizontal shirt.
Yeah, and I think it's the guy with the blonde hair.
Yeah, from the Punisher movie, the Russian. That's who they think he is. So I mean, literally, and that wasn't.
Dude, if
even
we get Thomas Jane in this movie, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, they've said that there are some huge surprises as far as like some of the cameos that they've gotten into this Deadpool and Wolverine movie.
They have to be careful.
Yeah. I think I've even seen some YouTube reviews and things like that that apparently there is a possibility that we not only see Chris Evans as Storm as the the human. Yeah, he there's a possibility he will be Captain America and
be the
Human Torch because he has played both of those characters.
And I may not be a Deadpool fan. I'm a huge Deadpool fan. And if the one after this isn't Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, or maybe this is part of it. Maybe he has to go kill some alternate timelines of... Because you still don't know.
I think... Yeah, we don't know. We don't understand the whole premise of the movie, but apparently the
TVA is in it. No whole bar.
Yeah, not only is the TVA in it, but this apparently takes place either during or after the timeline of Loki. So because you can see the multiversal life tree on one of the scenes as they scan through on the trailer. So.
My imagination runs wild to the points of who we were going to get in Multiverse of Madness that we never we semi got some of what we were hoping. I mean, you got Patrick Stewart in there as Professor Xavier, but like the TVA's involved, you have full Monty to go literally anywhere.
Oh yeah.
In Fox, you can't touch much of Sony stuff except for maybe who they've already gotten out of it when it comes to some Venom or maybe some Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I mean, the possibilities are endless. You get all of Fox, all of Marvel to just dip into, and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm very excited. That comes out July 26th, I think.
Yep, it's supposed to be another May.
Make plans. We should just make we should just make plans to go see it like on a Sunday afternoon or something.
Oh, Gabrielle's already like we're doing it, and so hopefully, like when the first one came out, this is the only time I've ever seen a movie in IMAX one time only, and it was at the Sandhills. So I'm down to go do that again. So I know we're getting opening night tickets.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's happening.
So I want to transition over to we record these episodes usually on Tuesday or Wednesdays the week before they drop. Today is actually Wednesday, the 24th of April. And yesterday, last night, Senate actually voted to pass the bill that contained the verbiage about the TikTok ban. So that did get signed into law today. President Biden did sign that into law. And essentially what that means is now TikTok has 170 days from the day that Biden signed it to separate itself from its parent company, ByteDance. The TikTok ban was also attached to a $95 billion foreign aid package to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. And I get that people are upset with this. I don't know all the details of what information was provided to senators and congresspeople that led them to believe that there was a necessity, because Democrats also got on board on this. And I think, and I don't necessarily think that this is just a political way of squashing an application that is being used by so many individuals. I mean, it's giving voice to so many people. I don't think that this is a situation where, and I know I'm probably going against the grain of what a lot of people think, I just don't feel like this is a situation where it was done out of spite for what it is that TikTok provides.
No, it feels like it feels like if people are coming together from both sides to ban it, there has to be some credibility somewhere.
Yeah.
In the vulnerability of the data that is accessible, whether it's being taken or not.
Yeah.
There's got to be something.
I mean, and ultimately if it's a fear of what China actually has access to, because I don't think TikTok takes any other data that's different from what Facebook gets, but with Facebook, it's not a privately held company out or a company whose largest investors are coming from outside of the country, specifically
Right.
China in TikTok's case.
Right.
And so while it's disappointing that something that was so universally accepted among the people of the United States, I mean, it's got what, something like 200 million users in the United States alone.
Well, I think it's like 165 million, something
so
like that.
A little less, but regardless,
that's a ton.
It's a very widely accepted app, and the content that some people are putting on there. I mean, it's some really entertaining things. We literally created a podcast almost specifically surrounding the content that comes out of TikTok. So I don't think we know enough about what goes on with the data from TikTok that maybe the senators and the representatives had access to, that made them so willing to have a law signed by the president that would potentially make TikTok unavailable here in the United States.
So, in the international version of TikTok, take a stab at how many you think.
I'm gonna guess 1.5 billion. Am I even close?
It is 689 million for the international. So for the US, it's 150 million in the US.
So basically, you said how many in the international?
689 million. I don't know if that combines everybody or if it's that specific one. But the US is 150.
So between the two of them, you're over 800 million. I mean, and that's a significant number. And on the US side, you're talking a quarter of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a huge chunk. So really, all TikTok has to do is be separated. They have to either they have to be sold out or something. But could you imagine how much TikTok would sell for? I mean, I guess we could probably.
I think it just said 1.9 billion.
1.9 billion is what could potentially. Well, as long as it's not Elon Musk buying it, I guess that's okay.
50 billion. I'm sorry. So it's 50 billion.
Holy shit. 50
TikTok's
billion.
worth is valued at 50 billion.
Well,
ByteDance is it's saying the parent company ByteDance is at 300 billion.
Jeez. What else?
Based on most recent stock repurchase. This from Bloomberg.
I'd be curious as to what else ByteDance has their hands on, because I mean,
let's check it.
I was gonna say, if TikTok is 50 billion out of 300 billion, that's an incredible amount. Like I said, I think there had to have been some sort of a significant reason for our Congress people to have pretty much universally jumped on board. I think I also have to assume that there was good enough reason for them to attach it to a bill that would get passage because of the necessity of funding foreign aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Mm-hmm. It just makes a lot of sense to me. So
yeah, I'm trying to. It says several popular social media and news apps.
Yeah.
I'll keep looking at it, but I'm really curious now.
Yeah, well, we'll come back to that if Zach finds something else. So I don't know if we've talked about it here. I think we may have talked about it on What the Pod, but the Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch returned this week. We have a brand new season.
I watched the episode. Have you?
Did you?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. It was titled "What's Up."
So, they take. I'm not gonna spoil it by any means, but helicopters are involved.
Are we talking their helicopters, or we're talking military helicopters?
Their helicopters. One with the founder's brother, the one that they always have, and then another one they got.
Okay.
Here just I could throw it out there real quick. ByteDance's flagship products, TikTok, Tuatio. They bought Musical.ly, News Republic, Hello, Vigo Video, Byte Plus, Pico. I think a lot of these apps we don't get.
Yeah.
So, well,
I don't think it would be that big of a deal for ByteDance to sell off however many shares of TikTok it has to a company here in the United States, or for for a company here in the United States to get some sort of a venture capitalist group to come in and buy it. I mean, $50 billion is a lot of money.
America loves capitalism till they don't.
That's right. That is absolutely right. So anyway, Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch. If you're fantastic. Not watching this, it's basically what you have is in Utah. There is this place called the Skinwalker Ranch, and a Skinwalker is, I guess. What is this?
Zachary King, exclusive member of Skinwalker Ranch.
How'd you get that?
Go to their website and sign up to be a member.
Oh, I'll have to do that.
You can watch live cam videos and stuff of the ranch.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's very cool.
So Skinwalkers, a Skinwalker, based on this idea that there were medicine men, and correct me if I'm wrong, but medicine men in the Navajo Utes tribes. So you had these two Native American tribes, the Utes and the Navajo, that were constant. They would battle. They would fight each other over land, resources, things like that. I guess at one point there was a battle and somebody died off or whatever, but there was a curse. A curse was put on the land by the Utes, I think.
No, the Navajo put the curse on the Utes.
Put it on there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So from that point on, this 200, 300 acres of land along the Uinta Basin in Utah,
yeah,
has been a hotspot of paranormal activity. People they have reported that they have seen skinwalkers, and a skinwalker, a different description of them, but it's basically
wolves and stuff, giant wolves or other animals.
Like a morphing of a human and a wolf. That there have been sighting. There have been a bunch of UFO sightings. Apparently, about 25, 30 years ago, for a good period of time, the owners of the Skinwalker Ranch land actually allowed the United States government, and I'm not sure if it was the Air Force or it was a division, but they came in and basically conducted studies for like 2 decades.
Yeah, it was the DIA or the DID, whatever it was.
Yeah,
they came in with Bigelow, because Bigelow brought to them, like, shit is happening out here. And that's the thing. I am not and Barrett, you aren't either. I'm not an Ancient Aliens, none of that. The thing that drew me into Skinwalker is that they have multiple PhD mastered scientists out there actually conducting scientific experiments and finding wild anomalies.
And it's and even the individuals that they have on the show, that they bring on, you can look these individuals up. These scientists and professors and things like that, they legitimately still work in universities. They have books published. Like, these are legitimate people that you could run into at a school or university, or you could run into the airport. These are actual real people that have verifiable credentials.
And Dr. Travis Taylor, that's on the show, was secretly and held to his NDA. He was the chief scientist for ATIP.
Yeah.
And he kept that from the guys. Like, that's how, like, succinctly he held that NDA. Like, you cannot talk about it. Then when all the stuff started getting released, he accepted the job while they were doing this show and didn't tell a single soul. And then they went and got him. And then finally, when it all came out and they were allowed to tell, he did tell them finally. They were all a little hurt about it because he was basically going like, here's the weird shit. This frequency, this 1.6 frequency, the government was like, we're bringing you into our top secret board for this, our top secret investigation panel for UAP. To me, that was just like, all right, so it's even more credible than them just running pure science. Like, the government saw it too, and they've even had the Black Hawk helicopter that flew over. No lights, no transponder, and then they got a hold of that base and they said, well, here's what we're going to tell you. It was out there. Not telling you where it came from, not telling you who was in it or who sent it, any of that.
Yeah, and they do a bunch of and sometimes I get the feeling like some of the experiments that they do are a little hokey. Like with the constant firing of rockets off into the sky.
Dr. Taylor loves the rockets.
Yeah, but it always feels like they just found an excuse to fire rockets into the sky, but they are legitimately collecting atmospheric pressure information, wind speed and directions, magnetic fields,
everything.
Things like that.
They've used LiDAR, they've used GPS, they have hot spots that affect it. They know every single time, and a lot of the time GPS gets pulled underground, like miles.
Yeah, it's weird.
And it's funny because Dr. Taylor likes to shoot off those rockets, but he has a scientific reason for doing it because every time they do, a UAP shows up. Like, it's a guaranteed way. Launch a rocket, start surveilling, here it comes. And if they don't, it doesn't.
It's really interesting. It really is interesting. So the meat of this episode, I guess, I guess, because we haven't done a whole lot of it in depth, I'll just say this: things don't look good for Donald Trump. They really don't. Tuesday, April 23rd, the Pennsylvania primary, which for Zac and I recording right now was yesterday. Donald Trump received 83% of the vote. Nikki Haley, who has not been in the race now for almost 2 months, received 16% of the vote. And I get that those are protest votes, but there were surveys done on voters as they exited the precincts. There were some people in there. So of all of the surveying that they did, it was like 66% of the people voting in the Republican primary said that if Donald Trump is convicted of any of these particular crimes that he's been charged with, 66 something percent will not vote for him in November. Like, just will not vote for him. And I think that is freaking the Republicans out, because
it could, but then are these the same people that if he is convicted, that will admit that he is wrong now?
I don't know where these people fall in these camps.
That's right.
I'm sure that there's a Venn diagram somewhere of like,
it's a depressing Venn diagram, but it's there.
it's the worst. It's the worst of Venn diagrams. But yeah, I don't know where all these individuals fall in these camps as far as, like, if were they potentially somebody that was out at January 6th. And now they're seeing him being, if he gets convicted of if he gets convicted of any or all of these particular trials that will eventually happen, is it possible that they wouldn't vote for him in November? And at least of the people they surveyed, it was like 66% of them said that they wouldn't. 25% of them said that they'd never vote for Donald Trump again. Like, it doesn't look good for him.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're good.
Is there a harder kind of like white collar job than being the lawyer for Donald Trump?
They had
to go in there and say, like, he tried really hard not to break this gag order.
Yeah.
And then, like, the prosecutor's like, here's, like, what is it? Like a Washington Post article of 25 instances of Donald Trump breaking said gag order or whatever.
Yeah. So the fraud case yesterday involving the hush money paid to an adult actor, Stormy Daniels, which paying her hush money isn't a crime. It was how the money changed hands and then was recorded under the campaign.
Right.
So basically his campaign paid to keep her quiet.
Yeah.
But it was Michael Cohen actually paid her $130,000 on instruction from Donald Trump. And then Donald Trump had to pay him back. And had they just been honest about what they were doing with the money, which would have then been public knowledge, but had they been honest,
it's not
about
much hush money anymore.
It's really not, considering at one point the interest alone on some of the money that he was supposed to pay in fines.
Yeah.
The interest alone was like $180,000 a day. Insane. But yeah, so Tuesday the 23rd, they did a hearing that was conducted before the actual court procedures around the case to give the judge the prosecution's request to hold Trump in contempt of court based on violation of the gag order, which basically the gag order was put in place to protect the sanctity of the trial.
Right.
And like one of the big no-nos, like the ultimately one of the big things that Donald Trump was absolutely not supposed to do was any sort of jury intimidation or speaking about the jury in any way, shape, or form. And fuck if he couldn't control himself. No, because he went straight to Truth Social and said that this jury is 95% Democrat, and that he can't get a trial. So I just want to do the count. I'm gonna do it real quick. So there's 12 jurors, 95% of 12. I'm actually gonna pull up the calculator on this because I want to get an exact number. So
do it.
95 12 times 0.95 is 11.4. So there's almost an entire juror who is not a Democrat, is basically what that's saying.
Almost a whole person.
Almost a whole person is the only non-Democrat on the
He's
jury.
the guy in the MAGA hat, if you could point him out.
It's crazy. Like, I mean, I know. So just in daily life, I whether it's with my job or being around people, I know that there are things that I probably just shouldn't say because it's going to spur a reaction. And I don't have a gag order on me. And this man cannot stop himself from basically screwing himself over in these trials. Like, he attacks the judge. He attacks the judge's daughter. It's all because he's a grade A narcissist.
I know. Grade A narcissist. The narcissists play the victim and blame everybody else that shit is going sideways, and it's no one's fault. Everyone's fault but his.
Right.
And you watch it just play out in a federal court, and you're just like, dude, like, legally speaking, you're gonna get hung on one of these. Yeah. Period. And you are not helping yourself.
And for what is going on with the trial right now, and I'm trying to reset my brain because it went in a different direction, and now I'm trying to get back to what it was I was going to say.
Sorry about
that. No, it's not your dementia. It's dementia. I accept it. But I guess I just have a hard time understanding that, he knows what the limitations are. He knows, but he claims that it's his First Amendment right. Here's the thing, and I don't think everyone knows this, but when you are under criminal indictment and you are currently going through the trial, you're in the Justice Department's hands, and that trial is currently going on, your First Amendment rights are restricted during the trial. Whatever the judge says goes. And I have to believe that his lawyers have explained that to him. But I as a Trump supporter, I want to talk to somebody that still continues to look at this man and go, yeah, he knows he keeps being told he's doing wrong, and he thinks it's his First Amendment right, but under civil or federal lawsuit, he doesn't have that right to beat down on the people involved in the trial, even the daughter who's not involved in the trial.
Well, they're not gonna stop him, man. Like that's like in the outcome for being one of Donald Trump's judges is you go to jail, you don't get paid, or you get fired.
Right.
I mean, it's one of those three. Like it, I don't know who these people are like picking up. Like I don't know who goes like, yeah, I'll do that. Is there a lawyer out there who thinks they can get him off? Like does Trump have enough clout about getting away with shit that they're just like, even if he loses, it's a win?
It's a great
Is that
question.
what it is? Like,
yeah, my father-in-law said something about the whole trial and all of the indictments and things like that. He said he doesn't think that from a prosecution standpoint they know what they're doing, because if he thinks, and I think this is the mentality of a lot of Trump supporters, is he thinks that the Democrats and the justice system, the Justice Department, are basically going to be handing him the presidency. That if he's going through this, it makes him sympathetic, and then that sympathy is going to spur voters to come and vote for him. But that's not reflective in the polls. It's not reflective in the primaries. I mean, you have a candidate, Nikki Haley, who has come out in the last couple of weeks and said that she has taken a job at some think tank in Washington, D.C. Like she has basically said, I'm going to cash in on all my fame and fortune, and I'm going to make more money, because she's going to go work for this think tank, which has apparently an unbelievable amount of money, and she's going to be making tons. And
oh man,
more than she made when she was allegedly taking money out of Lexington Medical Center when she was on the board there.
Hopefully she disclosed that she went to Clemson.
But I don't understand this mentality of some of these Trump supporters that continue to see him. They look at him like he's a victim, and if you do any research into who he is, he has never been a victim. There, at no point in his life has he ever been a victim. If he wanted to do something when he was a kid, his parents took care of it for him. His dad was right there to do whatever it is he wanted. If as a teenager he got into trouble, his dad was there to make sure that got covered up, that he paid whoever it was necessary to take care of it.
No, you're right. Yep.
So he's never been a victim. He has always played the victim role under every, and that's one of the things I also want to mention. So Trump's mindset is always perceived outcomes. It's always this idea that he's a fortune teller, he's a soothsayer, and if it goes the way he says that it's going to go, then it's always the Democrats, or it's always the liberal extremists or Antifa or whatever. If he's found guilty, it was the liberals that were stacked on the jury. If he loses the election, it was rigged. If Nikki Haley wins primaries or pulls in numbers, it was Democrats voting in the Republican primary that caused it. It's never, to him, or at least what he's expressing to his supporters, it's never him. No. It's always somebody else's fault.
Yep.
And as a human being, how can you attach yourself to someone who's constantly coming up with excuses about why it is that things aren't working out for them? Like, at some point, after failure after failure after failure, why don't you look at yourself and go, maybe it's me?
I mean, and not only that, Barrett, he's always the victim, and the people who are truly the victims, he makes them support him eventually at some point. Whether it's the carpenter who built all the cabinets in his casino and he was like, screw you, these aren't what I wanted, I'm not paying you. Whether it's Lindsey Graham just sitting there and shoveling shit in his mouth. Same thing with old greasy Ted Cruz. Yeah. Anybody that he belittles and mocks is a real victim, turns them into his soldiers. And that is just insane. Do you think there's any chance you and me could sit in a room with Donald Trump and he could convince us to fucking like him?
No. Not me.
No, but I'm scared to do it because he does it to people.
Yeah. It's a weird situation, and it doesn't make any sense. Like I want to try and attach it to like this whole evangelical Christianity, that it doesn't matter how hateful or what it is that's said from the pulpit, that there are people that will look at that and go, yes, that's God's will.
Mm-hmm.
God hates sinners. And that's not one of those things that I've ever thought about as far as like God, because I had always heard Jesus loves the sinners as much as he loves the nonsense,
Love the sinner, hate the sin kind of thing, right?
Yeah. But it's
his game,
so sheepish. It's so sheepish. And then like you mentioned, as far as like senators and congressmen that have put their, what is the reason the GOP is still following the marching orders of Trump? I mean, when ultra right-wing MAGA party of the GOP has very few dedicated members to their group, but somehow even the moderate Republicans, even just the Freedom Caucus that isn't in the MAGA wing, they still follow right behind Trump. Is it because he's the presumed nominee?
Well, maybe they don't want to get punked, just like he did everybody else. I'm telling you now, if Donald Trump ever punked me like he did Ted Cruz or any of them, Rubio, you're going to meet him at some point if you play along for a minute, and he's going to get hit right in the nuts. And yeah, you can take me to the federal prison, but I'd be like, what did I do? I hit Trump right in his fucking nuts because, that's it. No transgressions going unremedied here. I just don't understand it. Like,
well, I'd have to look up the details, but apparently there has been either a senator or a representative Democrat has I guess that he's trying to push through a bill that would, if convicted, Donald Trump would lose his Secret Service detail. And I don't think it requires an indict or a criminal conviction. I think the fact that he's under indictment should absolutely forfeit his right to Secret Service detail. Like that to
I don't
me
want
is
my
a
taxpayer
non-brainer.
dollars going to it. No.
Yeah.
And you know that handshake thing he does, how he pulls people in?
Pulls people in real close.
Joe Rogan said that he got him. Like, Joe Rogan was gotten by Donald Trump. Like, he's like, I'm not going to let him do it to me, and still got him. I promise you, if I ever got to shake his hand, I would do it, and I'm going to make that elbow pop, my boy. Like, it is coming. I promise you.
Oh, that's great.
Can't play that bullshit, the power game this guy plays.
Well, as nuts as the world is in Trump land, Biden land, they're doing pretty well.
Are they?
In the polls, primaries, he's carrying anywhere between 92 and 96% of Democrats voting. Dean Phillips still continues to receive some protest votes. It's understandable.
Dean Phillips is the other guy that's running because I haven't heard of anyone else.
Yeah, Dean Phillips, he is, I want to say he's a representative out of Minnesota, I think. That might not be right, but regardless, Dean Phillips, I don't know why he's still in the race. But if you watch Biden doing any of his speeches, he was at a rally in Pennsylvania recently, and I think he looks good. Yeah, he does. There are times where he fumbles through a speech. He's reading off of a teleprompter. I don't read off of a teleprompter. I literally have everything written down in front of me.
I do. Sorry.
But I will just I don't know that I'd be able to, because the software that we use has the ability to add a teleprompter, so I could legitimately read through a teleprompter. But I don't know how easy that is to do, because Biden is 82 years old, but one of the things that the conservative side of the political spectrum keeps saying is that Biden's weak. He's feeble. They claim that through many of the media outlets, he just doesn't have it in him to be president any longer.
I mean, they're all weak and feeble. I mean, half of our governing body is weak and feeble, so it's really not. Donald Trump is weak and feeble.
I can't deny that he's old. 82 is older than most Americans will live. Like that is an old age.
Did you see? It was in Congress recently where they played like a minute-long video of fumbles by Trump, and Jim Jordan had to stop it.
Oh no, I didn't see that. I'll have to check that out. It was
basically how they kept going on about Joe Biden and his things, and one of the Democratic representatives was like, watched this video, and it was just like a straight minute of Trump saying like confefe type things.
Yeah.
And Jim Jordan's like, that's enough. That's enough. You yield your time. That's enough. And I was like,
well,
really?
Well, as an individual that is likely voting for Biden in November, I can admit he's old. Yeah. He 82, like I said, 82 years old is older than most Americans will live like now.
Mm-hmm.
Is his mind slipping? Maybe. Is his mind slipping to the point where I think that he poses a threat to the security of the United States? No,
I don't think so either. And I think he's got a team around him that wouldn't let that happen per se.
That's the biggest thing, is the fact that the president surrounds himself with individuals that if the smartest people that they can hire for this menial job, this job that doesn't pay well, you get security. But like even Pete Buttigieg, it's not a great job. It sucks. To be a Secretary of Transportation or Secretary of Defense or whatever. These are not fun jobs. Mm-mm. And basically the only reason that you would fill that role is because you feel that you are the best choice, and the president has made that decision and the Senate has approved it.
Right.
It's a shit job. All of the cabinet positions are shit. Maybe Secretary of the Interior. That's probably not a bad job, because I got to believe that gets you a cabin at every state park or national park. Yeah. I got to believe that.
I do think that we need to see a stronger Kamala Harris come out of all of it too, a more present, doing more things in the eye of the public.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
It doesn't really happen.
No, and ultimately that's really the role of the vice president. They're basically, the vice president is just there to stand by in case they have to take the place of the president, or to go to funerals and state dinners and things like that. Again, vice president, shitty job.
Yeah.
You get almost no credit for anything, especially when the Senate has a majority in it that doesn't require the vice president being the president of the Senate's vote.
Right.
So even in that situation, when the Democrats have control of the Senate, she has almost nothing to do with the Senate either. Like, she doesn't play a vital role in the Senate.
But so when Joe is vice president, you saw him all the time.
He loved hanging out with Obama.
I mean,
I think that was one of the biggest things.
That's a big one. Yeah, they were bros.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not saying that I would hang out with Obama every time he called, but maybe a couple, every now and then.
Oh, I would
do it every time.
Zach, you want to come on over and we'll play some darts? I'm like, got it, rat.
Yeah, but I don't want him to sit there doing reenactments of his own past speeches. Too much pausing, too dramatic. I
loved his speeches, dude. Remember when we had presidents that didn't fumble anything? It was fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
it went Clinton. He could talk. Bush couldn't talk. No. Obama could talk.
Yeah.
Trump can't talk. Biden can't talk.
That's fair. That's fair. So one of the things that I struggle with is, do I give Biden too much credit? Am I biased towards Joe Biden, and am I creating a false sense of security about who Joe Biden is, or what his physical state is, what his mental state is? Am I? I want to say no, but in comparison to Trump, I think that Biden obviously has more control of his facilities as far as what comes out of his mouth. But even when he says things that I think are off color or whatever, I appreciate them, because I at least know that there's a politician in the president's office, or in that office, that is being honest enough to use the verbiage that sometimes we use in our daily life. Like, if he says that Trump's full of bullshit, like, I hear that and I'm like, that's what I think.
Right.
And he says it as the president, and so it's almost like it's kind of it's a relief to hear someone who has to always constantly hold himself to such a high standard. But he's not saying that Donald Trump is bullshit. He's saying that the things that he says are bullshit,
right,
or whatever.
I think that having dealt with such a bully in Trump for so long and getting Biden, who does, like you said, hold himself to a higher standard, sometimes I find myself wishing he wouldn't, because you do hear about things that he says behind closed door, like that son of a bitch is full of it. Yeah. Like, say that sometimes.
Yeah. Somebody write that into a speech.
It's like, at least I'm not a orange clown in court right now trying to weasel my way out of shit. Like, yeah. If he could just kind of get a little more salty about some of the things,
sure.
I think that would help a lot of people kind of even more relate, especially the people who are angry about the things that Trump has done.
Yeah.
I mean, basically fired a bunch of scientists during his time too that were working on global warming, things like that. I mean, there's so many things that he did.
Pandemic office.
The whole pandemic office, just the way, if he could have a little bit of just an edge to him, I think that would translate a little bit better for a lot of people. Yeah. And for me, because Obama would speak his mind. That's ridiculous. Like, he would tell you straight up, like, and Biden will, but it comes out more like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just more of like a whispered, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I want more of that. That's a dumb son of a bitch. Me and Spanky in Connecticut would have whipped his ass. Like,
he's on. Yeah, that's the difference. Is Biden would be very specific about what it is. Obama would be very specific about what something is in his opinion or based on his experience. Biden will tell you that experience and then tell you every single person that was there with him when he did it.
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me back of being in Scranton. You're like, God damn it!
I was there with Skippy and Don Faken and Tim Jones, and we call one guy Ice Cream Scoop.
And we had to make Skippy leave his switchblade in the Model T before we went in there.
So even though I try to beat myself into some sort of recognition of some of the issues that I find in Biden that I could potentially also see in Trump, or that I'm trying to relate the two, I still come down to, and I wrote them down, a list of things that make Trump not the candidate for me. Okay. And ultimately, I think this is a list of things that make Trump not a candidate for anyone. Trump is a threat to our Constitution. He has made statements that show support for dictators and authoritarians around the world. Trump is under investigation for criminal activity that he has allegedly overseen or participated in, and being president would delay or even shut down those investigations under a justice system controlled by Trump. Nothing that occurred during the Trump administration of 2017 to 2021 benefited the country as a whole. Tax breaks went to the rich. They did not benefit most, and have added multiple trillions of dollars to the debt. COVID was completely mismanaged through denial and stupidity. Fewer deportations of immigrants across the border, fewer immigrants from immigrants crossing the border occurred during the Trump administration than do currently under Biden. Under the Biden administration, there are more deportations, which means that under the Trump, because I don't think that there's a larger number of immigrants crossing the border like some of the conservative media says. But under the Biden administration, there are more deportations of those immigrants crossing the border illegally than there were under Trump, which speaks to the fact that the border is an actual issue for the Biden administration, and they are working to try and take care of it by working with Republicans to come up with a bill that would be universally acceptable by all Republicans.
But the Republicans don't want it.
Yeah, well, until Trump comes along and says, no, don't go along with that bill because I want to use it for political advantage. I want to show that there's a problem, one, that doesn't really exist. People cross borders of other countries all over the world. The United States is no different than any other country on this planet. We border other countries. Other people are going to cross into our country. And at one time, we significantly hailed that. There was a time in the United States where we encouraged people to come here because it was important to the diversity of what the United States represents. And it still is to a lot of us.
And you and I directly would not be here if not for that.
100%. Well, 100%. Well, my family was all white and came over on a boat.
I'm just saying, but that was open arms to immigrants.
Yeah. we as European mutts would not be here in the United States if it weren't for the fact that they embraced the idea of diversity at one point in time. And that one point in time extended for centuries, that the United States was a place that wanted individuals, the best, the smartest, and
you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry, you're huddled masses.
Everyone. And the fact that there are people in this country that just want to forget that happened is absurd to me. This is still a country that we are not overpopulated. I mean, some of our cities might be, but we have an immense amount of land. Our technology is growing faster in the United States than almost any other first world country. And the potential of utilizing land technologically for renewable resources is absolutely within our grasp. As long as our political leaders are willing to invest in it, and it has to be governmental investment into the private sector to get these technologies mainstream. Absolutely. Let me see, where was I at? Trump has lost in every election, and we'll end with this. Trump has lost in every election since he took office. 2018 lost both the Senate and the House. In 2019, Republicans saw a net loss as a result of Trump's administration. 2020, Trump lost the presidency. 2021, Republicans saw another net loss as a result of Trump's involvement in the Republican Party. 2022, Republicans took back the House by one of the slimmest margins in history, but not because Democrats weren't doing what they should and Republicans were promising to do what they would. It was because in states across the country, there was so much gerrymandering that was taken advantage of because of the 2020 census. So that is why Republicans are currently in control of the House by one member? And 2023, another net loss in Republican controlled seats in legislative houses and bodies all over the country, mostly associated with the country's reaction to the overturning of Roe versus Wade and the Dobbs decision by the conservative-controlled Supreme Court. Republicans are dropping out of their congressional seats. It is basically a clown show, and Republicans have no ability to govern. And the fact that Kevin McCarthy was booted from his speakership by his own party, and the fact that Mike Johnson is now under threat of losing his speakership, being ousted by his own party.
Yep.
Mike Johnson is such a MAGA Trump lover that there's nothing that Trump couldn't ask Mike Johnson to do, and Mike Johnson wouldn't do it.
Mm-mm. Yeah, the only person that's going to fill that spot is like Kid Rock in their book, I guess. I don't know. I don't know who else it could be.
I don't know.
It's time we balled with the ball and got Kid Rock in here.
It's such a weird situation. And I don't understand how there are people in my life that I respect their opinions and I have general good feelings towards, but sometimes in conversations they show their Trump side, and it's like, how is it you feel this way?
I feel like a lot of those people act the way they do because they don't have any bosses. We should be the bosses, right? Except for you can't call their fucking cell phone and give them an earful.
Yeah,
like you can show up in a protest and say you're not going to vote for them with a bunch of people, but at the end of the day, they don't care about that. They're already in, right?
Yeah, 100%.
The conventions pick who there's like, it's just a mess, and it's a hilarious mess, but it's the sad hilarious mess.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it's on the side of the idiots, but it's our country, dude. It's not a fucking joke.
Absolutely,
it just drives you mad, dude. Drives you mad. And
I'm sorry this episode wasn't funnier.
At least we got to talk about some not politic things.
Yeah. Well, I will, before our next recording, I will do what I can to watch all, if not all, of the Fallout series. Also, for our next recording, I'm hoping we're going to have Mac DeFord, who is a congressional candidate for South Carolina Congressional District 1, running against the infamous Nancy Mace, who is, if you don't know, do a YouTube search of her and specifically look for YouTube videos where she was carrying a whip around the halls of Congress. Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
No, that's a stable human individual right there.
Yeah. Somebody get her a gun.
The only person who gets to carry a whip and we don't ask questions is Indiana Jones, damn it.
That's right. We still ask questions. I mean, he's like 100 years old now, but yeah, we ask questions.
Leave him alone.
Yeah, exactly.
He also belongs in a museum.
That's correct. I think that was a line out of the last movie, wasn't it?
I belong in a museum. Along with this famous line.
Mark Hamill does one of the greatest impressions.
Perfect.
So good. Mark Hamill is an amazing voice actor. On top of being Luke Skywalker throughout the course of the Joker, he does. He's Mark Hamill's great.
The trickster in The Flash, which was also just like a really gay Joker.
And wasn't he Ball Knocker in
Cock Knocker? Yeah,
Cock Knocker. That's what it was. Cock Knocker. God. That was in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah.
So good. So good. All right, that's going to do episode number. That is going to do it for episode number 202. 202. Again, thanks Bill Kimler for being on last week with us. Thank you, Priest Jones, for the opportunity to sit down and be on his pilot episode of Worthy Cause podcast. Again, once that comes out, I'll have details. We'll probably do a re-airing of it.
I'm just wondering, is this thing working? He didn't call me.
Oh,
Preach.
Yeah. This was set up. This was set up a little while ago. I'm sorry, Zach. Also, thanks to Chef Hector as well. Make sure to follow him on Instagram at Chef Hector Sanchez, because then you'll know about future
Chef
pop-ups.
Hector's the man.
John Kosis, thank you very much. Also, vote for us. The voting starts May 22nd. We should be nominees. I don't think we're not going to not be nominees. I think we're going to be nominees. So just pay attention, subscribe to the show, because we'll update you when it's time to go ahead and start putting those votes in.
Yeah, when we do get nominated, everybody start checking your mailbox. Yeah, tell your neighbors, because we're putting it in there.
We're gonna need a lot of votes. There's a lot of worthy podcasts here in Columbia, and it's entirely possible that we might not pull it off, but we're putting it into the universe.
Barrett and I are gonna go get stepbrother Walmart pictures in our sweater vests. And you can't say no to it.
You know what?
Let's do it.
If you subscribers, you all get us another win. Absolutely. Zach and I are going to dress up like stepbrothers, and we're going to do that pose. So 100%.
Am I Will Ferrell, or are you John C. Reilly, or am I John C. Reilly and you're Will Ferrell?
Oh, for some reason I thought that I was Mary Steenburgen.
The mom?
Yeah. Could you imagine with a beard? Ted Danson standing over the side.
You'd have to write an apology letter to her.
If it gets her attention, whatever.
Yeah, she's not doing anything anymore. Come on.
That's right. Links to past episodes, podcast platforms, merchandise, and social media available at our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com. And if you think our financial model of giving away free content and entertainment is silly and you're in the giving mood, why not become an official Nothinger and support the show monthly? Members can get early access to this episode as well as exclusive content, or you can make a one-time donation through the same link. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you can call us and leave us a message, 803-672-0533. You can email the show at theallaboutnothing.com, or you can join our Discord server. Links are available at theallaboutnothing.com. Everybody, thank you very much for supporting us and listening to these episodes. We appreciate feedback when it's given.
Absolutely.
And I guess if
you're watching us, our handles are right here.
Yeah,
Twitter.
That's right. Thank you everybody for supporting the show and continue to do that, because we'll continue to do it. So you all stay safe and
keep your hands to yourself, please.
Right on.
The All About Nothing podcast is produced and engineered by me, Barrett Gruber. Thanks to Cake for our intro music, Sick of You. You can follow everything Cake the band at cakemusic.com. Thanks to Muff the producer for our outro music. You can follow Muff on Instagram at Muff the producer. I am Barrett Gruber. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Barrett Gruber, or visit my Linktree /Barrett Gruber. Want to support the show? Visit our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com, and become a member. There are several tiers available, including memberships that give you early access to episodes, as well well as exclusive content. Visit theallaboutnothing.com. To find links to our social media, merchandise, and past episodes, visit theallaboutnothing.com. If you'd like to be heard on the show, you can call and leave us a message. Dial 803-672-0533. If the time between these episodes is more than you can handle, check out our partner podcast. Zach and I host What the Pod Was That with Carrie Simmons. Visit whatthepodwasthat.com for links and details. Me takes a deep dive down the rabbit hole in episodes of Welcome to Wonderland, available on all the podcast platforms. Visit WTWLpod.com for details. As well, you can listen to the political and social conversation between Dr. Jamela Brooks and Bill Kimmler on Black, White, and Blue in the South, available wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe and share this show. If you're on YouTube, please like and hit the notification bell. Thank you for listening. The preceding podcast is a product of Big Media and copyright 2024, all rights reserved. This episode of the All About Nothing podcast is brought to you by Blank Canvas Brand. If you own a business, restaurant, or sports team and you're ready to shake things up with that new, unique image, you need to use Blank Canvas Brand. Blank Canvas specializes in brand identity, including logos and graphics for business cards, flyers, banners, and signs. Blank Canvas offers printing services to help with your clothing needs. Look, when it comes to talent and service, there is no one better. For more information, you can search Facebook for Blank Canvas, or you can email blankcanvas@theallaboutnothing.com. That's BLNKCANVS @theallaboutnothing.com. You can find links in the Friends of the Pod section of our website. Visit theallaboutnothing.com.